Welcome to the PolyInnovator channel. Today, I'm going to talk about the goals I wish to achieve. I want to create a career based on a synergy of three main areas. Number one, global sustainability development. Number two, social entrepreneurship. And number three, innovation and project management. You might see it in different orders on some of my websites or blog posts. But overall, these three main areas are what I wish to combine into one career. Now, they are very interrelated, so I think a lot of the career paths for one can overlap with another. And social entrepreneurship is more of just a thing I'm already doing at the point by creating a personal brand, working on an actual company brand, and overall the DIY degree as a tool to use as a branding technique. This is what I hope to achieve out of all of it, as well as the knowledge based from it. So it's more of a double whammy kind of thing. The path I am traveling right now is based on just pursuing the DIY degree on its own. I wish there was some way for me to find a college that was more suitable for what I wanted to do. There's ASU's Innovation School, MIT is a very innovative school as well, Stanford as well, but a lot of these are still too traditional in the way they learn and how they schedule and block their systems. Now, granted, all three of them have their own pathways that are unique, and so I don't want to dismiss that, but they still have that traditional learning, and I always struggled in the classroom in that way. I never felt that it was quite suitable for me, and I don't want to sound pretentious by any means, but it's just one of those things where I couldn't learn very well. I have found in my own studies on my DIY degree, the do-it-yourself kind of pathway suits me. I'm able to speed up the videos if I like. Been studying a micromasters at the moment, and it's one of the biggest parts of the DIY degree that I'm focusing on at the this morning even. And when I'm watching it, I see myself speeding up the videos, or speed reading the text, or finding alternative ways to learn the knowledge. So, for example, the course I'm taking in the micromasters was based off of a lecture that was posted on the OpenCourseWare. So I'm going to OpenCourseWare, watching those videos of the lectures, hour and a half long videos, in conjunction with the actual broken up ones from the micromasters, and completing the quizzes that way. And I feel like at the end of it, when I take the course test, I'll watch over those lectures fully. Platforms. I recently started using Khan Academy again for the first time in a while, and started doing the same kind of learning style that I normally do on other websites on Khan Academy as well, focusing on getting that dynamic interleaving experience between all these different areas. I mainly went on there for two reasons: math and statistics. The micromasters that I'm pursuing has a lot of both, and so I want to be prepared from the very bottom up in my knowledge base, because I have struggled specifically in math a lot over the years. And I mentioned in one of the other videos that I've been learning calculus, at least for a time there I was, and I actually understood it. I understood the derivatives and integrals and the connections between them and how the area underneath the line is calculated. However, the algebraic aspects behind calculus is what kind of struggled in front of me. And I realized that was the main thing in school that I struggled with. I couldn't learn much geometry, or even especially trigonometry, without the algebra behind it. And I took geometry, I passed it to my knowledge, and it worked. But it didn't necessarily teach me much. I didn't learn much because I didn't have that prior math behind that. And I think that's the same thing that's going to happen with calculus until I upgrade my knowledge overall. Now, on top of that, even though I have this massive course list, I also have these other areas that I want to learn from. There are plenty of YouTube playlists. I have a stack of books on my bookshelf right down there. All kinds of different areas. I have one on Napoleon, I have Shakespeare, I have Leonardo da Vinci. There's a book in particular that I really want to share. It's called The Tao of Physics by Fritjof Capra, where it synergizes. I like that word. I know it's not a real word, but I like it. Synergizes physics and science with philosophy. Anywhere between Taoism to Christianity and quantum mechanics to biology. and it makes it such a understandable way, even for the most people who don't know anything about either one. Now, if you know a whole bunch about one and a whole bunch about the other, it'll help you learn about the other one. If you know a decent amount about both, which I presume to do, it really blows your mind. It's awesome. Now, there's all these different kinds of learning resources like that book that I want to learn from. This is why I pursue the DIY degree in the first place, because I want to create my own pathway by getting the best of all these different areas and putting it into one system. For me, I like having this insanity aspect. I like being almost under pressure constantly. Yesterday, I found myself very stressed out because I kept feeling that my life is going to be the same way for the next few years. And if that is, it's going to happen. That's okay. I just realize that other people won't like that. And I want to make sure that I specify that what I'm doing might not be suitable for other people. But you could also take what I'm doing and change it for yourself. And I would love to help people do that. I haven't had much ideas on the way of creating content based on around doing what I'm doing. But I'm trying to think of ways I can make infographics or PDFs for people to kind of learn from and see what they can do for themselves. There's also those websites like Class Central and all these different course curators that you could use. I like using Google Docs sheets. That way I can list out what I want right in front of me all in one place. Now, the possible paths ahead are vast. I could just pursue the DIY degree and call it a day. That's still going to take a couple of years, and I'll probably get a lot out of it. It's going to include a lot of micromasters, a lot of microcredentials in general, as well as probably the micro-bachelors that are coming from edX here in the future. I still haven't heard much about them. I've been keeping up on the news as much as I can. I found another website that talked about them a little bit more, and I thought about sharing that on here, but there wasn't much information to share. So I figured it wasn't prudent just yet, but when I know more, I will. And all these different micro-credentials would lead to jobs on their own, generally speaking. One of them is on supply chain management. If I took that one, then I would be able to have a way to get into a supply chain management job. And if I had a bachelor's, I could go into the master's degree for it. And overall, these different programs would honestly be good just on their own. I could just take one of them and call it a day. My goal is to take multiple and then have that as my background. And so instead of just taking one or even just two, I'm taking 8. That's 8 semesters worth of graduate school. Now, granted, I could probably speed up some of them, considering some of them are self-paced, and I can speed up the videos, speed up the learning process. But overall, they do constrict your timing to that time slot. And I talked about the traditional schooling before. And I'm noticing that with the MicroMasters now, that I'm having some hard time with that, where some days I'm really good at sprinting and I'll get a lot of stuff done. A whole week will go by and I'm barely halfway through that week for the school. And it sucks because I have to confine to that weekly schedule like they have. I'd rather do sprints, like almost project management sprints. It's how I go about my work, how I go about my study. The paths ahead, like I said, are the DIY degree, and then I also got accepted to University of the People, which is I got into the associate's degree program, and I'm considering that one. I'm trying to talk to them a little bit more because I'm still concerned about that being the right path or not, considering it's still a traditional learning experience. It might be MOOCs, it might be online, but it's still traditional structure. And I'm wondering if that's going to be a good thing and just kind of get myself into a more rigid schedule, or if it's going to be like the MicroMasters and hold me back. I'm hoping that it's the prior, but overall, I'm considering that. And if I take that, then I would either leave it as just the associates in the business, or I'll take it into Western Governors University, which they accept UO the people. Not many places do. I know NYU does, and Excelsior might have, but overall, not many people take their credits because they're only nationally accredited, not regionally accredited. WGU would take it. That would take about a third off of my degree for WGU. I would have to come in with a certification in Network Plus or A+, but I wanted Network Plus instead. And then I'd be able to take a whole class off because of that certification alone. So I'd be going in about halfway, 40% of the way through the degree already. I can finish that degree and get an information technology degree and get all these different certifications to help with the technological aspect behind the career I want. Having that tech background and a business background will help quite a bit. And then whatever graduate level program I choose, if I do choose to do one, instead of just not just doing the micromasters but pursuing past that, I could do multiple master's degrees in pretty quick time. And I think that would actually be a really unique path, because many people definitely would not have half of that, let alone all of that. It's going to take a lot of money, and I don't know if I can afford that, but perhaps with saving and spacing it out, I could pay for the courses on my own. I think this might be the most ideal path, but I'm also concerned about how it is kind of counterintuitive to my own personal intuition. My gut has always been against school, and I can't explain fully why, but it's always been against the traditional learning. And I almost feel like if I pursue this path, I'm going against myself in that way. Now, please, let me know what you think in the comments below, or message me, whatever you feel like is the best way to communicate. So I think having some other opinions on this will help quite a bit. If I don't pursue that path, there is other paths as well. One of those is actually taking a micromasters and going straight into a master's degree. The only one I know at the moment that will do it is the one I'm in, Data Economics and Development Policy. I could have sworn Supply Chain Management did a couple years ago, but I'm not sure if they still do or not. From what I heard, they don't. Now, edX recently, just the past couple days, released about 9 new master's degrees on their platform, each of which have a corresponding micromasters to go into. I'm curious to see if those micromasters will be the sole credential that you need in order to get in. I looked at University of Queensland's master's degree on there, I think Innovation Management or something along those lines. And it's interesting because it does seem like you could go in with just a micromasters and a lot of work experience. I've worked 6 jobs, 12 different positions, all in the span of 6 years or so since I started being able to work. And at that point, I have had so many different employment options, experiences to my disposal that I'm able to learn from all these different experiences. At one point, I held 8 positions at once. I think that is a very good background to have. It's very polymathic, I have to say. But I'm not sure that would satisfy the needs of having that multiple years of full-time work. It was full-time, but it was multiple part-time jobs. At one point, I had 3 jobs at once even. And I know many people have more than that. I'm just saying, like, it was nice. I liked having that chaos, but some of it was too much, so I toned it down a bit. And now I can focus on studying. I hope that might be good enough, or perhaps having multiple micromasters will help me get into those programs as well. I really like that idea, and so the DIY degree on its own, no matter what path I choose, I'll be taking that DIY degree to its fullest. I know that. But I want to know if I should go into UO the people, WGU to masters, or just WGU, or just WGU and UO the people. There's all these different combinations, and I'm getting stuck on trying to decide when I need to be decisive. Now, how they might fit into each other or how I might skip all that is another thing to worry about. So I could just skip all the college together and just do the DIY degree on its own. Micromasters are technically college, and like I said before, they're still relatively traditional in their learning structure, but they're still online, and they're still significantly cheaper than what I could do in actual school. And I say actual school, doesn't mean that what I'm doing is not actual school. It's just different. I hope that this video either explains what I'm doing more, or inspires somebody, or give someone an idea for themselves. I tried to do a different format with this video too. I wanted to see if I could do one more based on my own words, not structuring it into a script or anything like that. So I noticed in the past videos, I would clip off, transition, clip off, transition, clip, transition, clip, transition. And I think some people don't mind, but I feel like that might bother some people. So I also wanted to try this where I would put a few bullet points down, which I have 4 over here, and try to base my video off of that. Let me know what you think, and that way I can get some feedback on the structure of the videos and perhaps make a better one for you in the future. Thank you. Have a good day.